Hi, Duhawks. I just wanted to take a quick minute to take you through the metabolism lab and the requirements associated with such. So you'll be able to find this lab posted for you on eLearn. And the first thing that you're going to do is click on this Google Doc here, and you should be able to then sign up for a time to complete station number one. Station number one is the assessment of your resting metabolism through the use of our metabolic cart. So ideally, you want to do this kind of first thing in the morning. So you haven't eaten breakfast, you haven't exercised, you haven't had any caffeine. That's the best way to have the most accurate results. And this will take place in Graber 104. Again, we'll do individual appointments. You can sign up, I guess, with 2 people per time slot. That way, you know, one of you will be able to kind of watch and see what's going on with the computer and how things are calculated, and the other person will be able to be tested. But again, everyone needs to complete the test, okay? So again, ideally, you haven't done any strenuous exercise. You would lie down on one of those AT tables in there and relax for, 10 minutes or so while the lab assistant gets everything calibrated. And again, that'll make sure that you're completely rested when you do that particular test. Okay, so you'll be able to get these results. Again, Patrick will be doing all of this for you. I will be around for as many sessions as I can to answer any questions that anyone might have. But once you have this information, then you'll be able to complete this information down here as well. So again, it'll give you a percentage of fats and a percentage of carbohydrates. But as we've talked about in lecture, or as you'll hear about in lecture, I can't remember which happens first, depending on when you sign up for a time slot for this. It doesn't account for protein as a contributor to metabolism. So you want to use this equation in order to kind of account for that. Okay. The rest of this stuff you can do on your own. Station number 2, you'll be able to predict your resting metabolism through the use of these equations. Again, if you're a male, make sure you pay attention to the male category. And if you're a female, again, pay attention to the equations on your side of the chart. And then you'll put in those calculations. Sorry, didn't realize my phone was on. You'll put in those calculations then down here, okay? The next thing we're going to do is calculate your total energy expenditure. So again, this is just an estimate. Again, it asks you for how you categorize yourself in regards to physical activity level, but there's not really like a set standard, like what is considered sedentary, what is considered active, and things like that. So do your best to kind of estimate those things, okay? Again, you'll be able to put all your data down here in this particular chart. Okay. The next thing we want to do is look at your calorie consumption for one day. Again, I would try to choose a day that's pretty standard for you. So, choose a day that you're following a pretty normal diet. Again, be as specific as you can in order for us to get some accurate results here. So put down your quantities so that you can accurately estimate the amount of calories, grams of protein, grams of carbs, etc. Okay. Down here, notice that it asks you for your total grams of carbs, fats, and proteins, but then it also asks you for total calories as well, okay? So again, you'll look at your total calories in general. Let's say I consumed 2,000 calories. Again, know that these percentages then need to add up to 100, okay? So if I consumed 55% of my total calories came from carbs, and 25% came from fats, 55, and then 20% came from proteins, okay? So those need to add up to 100%. And the way in which you're gonna ensure that that happens is you gotta convert grams into calories, okay? So for carbohydrates, and proteins, you're gonna take the amount of grams that have been consumed and multiply that by 4, and that'll give you the calories. For fats, you're going to take the amount of grams times 9, and that'll tell you the calories consumed in that particular category. Again, if you're using like MyFitnessPal or some sort of other tracking device, it might do all this for you. Then you don't have to do the calculations. I don't have any problems with that if you want to do it that way. Okay. The next chart, again, you're going to need to plan ahead. You're going to wear some sort of fitness device, whether that's a Garmin watch, a smartwatch, a Fitbit, heart rate monitor, something along those lines. Okay. If you have one of these things, use your own item, whatever you have. Okay. All of the Garmin watches, either there's a setting on the watch, or you can log into the Garmin Connect app and be able to view how many calories you've expended. Same thing with the smartwatch, Fitbit. I have, I think, 3 of those that I can loan out to you. Polar heart rate monitor is like the worst option. It's the least accurate of all these measures. But if we don't have an option, then we can do that. Again, I want you to be on top of this assignment so that we can get the most accurate results. Like I said, I can lend out some Fitbits, and I do have an extra Garmin watch I could lend out as well if anybody needs to use those things. But you're responsible for figuring out what you have and that sort of thing. If you've done personal fitness and you have a polar heart rate monitor, then we can use that as well. Okay. So you're going to incorporate a screenshot of whatever data you have into this document. Okay, so screenshot that and then copy and paste it into this assignment. Okay, so list the device you use and then the total number of calories that it says that you burnt in 24 hours. Some will give you like number of active minutes. I know some of the smartwatches do that. My Garmin can do that as well. Number of steps taken as well. That's another thing that can be tracked. That can be tracked on your phone too. If you always have your phone with you, you should be able to get that estimate as well. And then lastly, do this on the same day as what you do with your nutrition log, but you're going to estimate your total energy expenditure in one day. Okay. So again, when you think about activities, I don't want you to just put, okay, I had, football practice 120 minutes or whatever. Okay. Well, what else did you do in that particular day? There's 24 hours. We want to account for those the best that we possibly can. A lot of people ask, well, how do I know how many calories that I've burnt during football practice or during when I slept or whatever? So you can use an online website in order to estimate those calories burnt during that activity. And then you're going to add those calories with your resting metabolism, which was done in station 2 to get an estimate of your total energy expenditure. Again, the idea is we want to then compare this, your total energy expenditure as calculated here, as calculated with your smart watch or whatever device we use here. We want to compare that to what we're doing nutrition wise. Are we able to balance these things, right? Are we consuming the appropriate amount of calories based on how many calories we're expending in a day? Okay. So again, then you've got several summary questions kind of here at the bottom. Make sure that you give me some good detail with those. They don't need to be in APA format or anything else like that, but I do want you to be detailed about these things, okay? I think that's it. The due date is listed here up at the top, Wednesday, September 30th. You should have plenty of time to get this done. And as always, let me know if you have questions as you're working on this assignment. Hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you soon.